Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Becky Gohagen, and I'm an elementary math specialist with Academic Services. And let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. Welcome to preparing for the new elementary math end-of-year assessment. Again, my name is Becky Gohagen, and on behalf of Academic Services in partnership with Parent Academy, we would like to thank you for taking the time to participate in this live learning session. Our agenda for this evening will be to provide an overview of the FAST, discuss the variety of item types, and the resources available. Take a moment to review our community agreements. During our time together, it is our hope that we would each minimize distractions in our environment, keep headphones on, mute, and cameras turned off, ask questions in the chat feature during the presentation for the good of the group, and I will get to those questions at the end of the presentation. And know that this is a learning environment. It is safe not to know. Take about 30 seconds to read the learning outcomes independently. During our session, participants will gain understanding of the Florida Assessment of Student Thinking, FAST assessment for mathematics. Explore resources available to support students at home. Let's begin our session with an overview of the Florida Assessment of Thinking. Florida is the first state in the nation to fully implement progress monitoring instead of end-of-year standardized testing. With our new state standards came the new Florida Assessment of Student Thinking, or FAST. FAST is a progress monitoring assessment for reading and math that will be administered in pre-kindergarten through 10th grade. Pre-K through 2nd grade is new to state testing this year with FAST. FAST occurs 3 times per year to track your students' progress in learning the required reading and mathematics materials within Florida's benchmarks of excellent student thinking, BEST standards. The assessments are taken on a computer. The assessments are adaptive, meaning the questions get easier or more difficult depending on how the student responds. Each student will see different questions from a common question bank. Each progress monitoring session will provide a set of questions that will cover the entire year's benchmarks. Each of these progress monitoring sessions provide information so the teachers can better help the students. Progress monitoring, or PM1 and PM2, are given for informational purposes. PM1 acts as a baseline to provide teachers with a starting point. PM2 is a mid-year check to monitor progress, and PM3 is a summative end-of-year measure for student mastery. Students have already taken PM1 and PM2 this year, and the PM3 testing window opens May 1st and ends June 2nd. Your student will complete this assessment during that window. The specific dates for your student will be communicated to you by the schools. In previous years, the state assessments given were 2-day assessments. For the FAST assessment, K through 2 will have one testing session for each assessment that lasts an average of 20 to 30 minutes. Grades 3 through 5 will have one testing session for each assessment as well. PM1 and PM2 were an average of 80 minutes, and the PM3 window will be an average of 100 minutes. FAST results are communicated by performance levels 1 through 5. A level 1 is beginning to access the content. Level 2 is demonstrating a below satisfactory level of success with the content. Level 3 is demonstrating an on-grade level success with the content. Level 4 is demonstrating above satisfactory level of success with the content. And a level 5 is demonstrating mastery of the content. In grades 3 through 5, students are not permitted to use calculators during the testing session. Students already practiced the math benchmarks in their classes without calculators, so they are comfortable with that. Grades 3 through 5 will be provided with a reference sheet that includes some customary metric and time conversions, as well as some formulas. And this is a snip on the screen of what that reference sheet looks like. Now let's take a few minutes to review the item types that students encountered during their FAST assessment. Math types include multiple choice, multi-select editing task choice, selectable hot text, equation editor, matching, and graphic response item display, also called grid. We will go into more detail about each type on the upcoming slides. This is an example of a multiple choice item type. With this type of question, students choose one correct answer from the options below the question. This item will only allow students to select one answer choice. For a multi-select item type, the student is directed to select all the correct answers from the number of options available. These items are different from multiple choice items and will allow students to select as many answer choices as they feel appropriate. This is an example of the editing task choice. This item type requires the student to click the blanks to reveal a drop-down menu which contains options to complete an equation or an expression, a statement, or other component. The student will select the correct response from that drop-down menu. With the selectable hot text item type, the student is directed to click on one or more correct answers from among a number of options. When the student hovers over the options, such as phrases, sentences, numbers, or expressions, the text will highlight. This indicates that that text is selectable and has become hot. The options may be presented in various ways, such as a list, embedded within the text, or in a table. The student can then click on an option to select it. With the equation editor, the student enters a number, a variable, an expression, or an equation as appropriate to the test item in a response box. The student is presented with a toolbar that indicates a variety of mathematical symbols that can be used to create a response. The response box may be separate from the text of the item, or it may be embedded within the text of the item, for example, in line with a sentence or within a table. This is a fourth grade example of a matching item. For this item type, the student checks a box to indicate whether information from a column header matches information from a row. The number of correct answer options per row or column may vary based on the question. For the purposes of showing you a graphic response item display or grid, I'm using a 7th grade example because there was not a 3 through 5 example available for this session. For this item type, the student uses the point, line, or arrow tools to create a response on a graph. The item type may also require the student to select numbers, words, phrases, or images and use the drag and drop feature to place them into a graphic. There's a lot of things going on with these problems. Now let's take a few minutes to review the available resources that the state has provided to support students. The FLDOE has released resources to help teachers, students, and families prepare for the new progress monitoring tool, FAST. We will walk you through how to access the materials that are currently available. Once you have landed at flfast.org, click on the assessment of student thinking. So that's this image right here with my arrow. Once you have landed on that page, it takes you to a FAST portal. Once in that portal, click on Students and Families. That's this image where my yellow arrow is. Once in the Students and Families page, you are able to access sample item types for K2 and practice tests for 3 through 5. If you were to click on the VPK through 2 selection, you will see a list of assessments available to view the sample items. There's a Renaissance Star Early Learning Literacy sample test, a reading sample test, and the Renaissance Star Math sample test items. So that those documents will open up and you'll see sample items of what the students would see when they're taking that assessment. Going back to students and families, if you click on the grades 3 through 10 it will open up sample tests. So you will enter a practice site, and by clicking the sign in at the bottom, right here where my yellow arrow is, you will be prompted for the grade level that you want to practice. After choosing the grade level, you will enter the test. So it'll ask you some questions, some setting questions, just like the students see, and then the test questions appear. This practice test is also interactive, just as the students will see the assessment when they're taking it. Also on the students and family page at the bottom, you have additional resources to explore. These are assessment resources with information about FAST, and we will look at some of the information that can be found there. By selecting the link for grades 3 through 10 fact sheet, you will find important information specifically for grades 3 through 5. In grades 3 through 5, for the third administration of the FAST assessment, students will have 100 minutes. This is slightly longer than given in their first and second progress monitoring sessions. The FAST assessments are delivered using the test delivery system with a secure browser, and the results of the assessment are available for families in the family portal. Now looking at the link for the grades K2 fact sheet, you're also provided with important details about the K2 assessment. For example, all of the FAST assessments are administered in one-day session. Within that session, the platform includes timelines on each item. For STAR Math K through 2, students will see 34 questions during their session, and each item has a 3-minute time limit. If you were to click the family portal link, it will take you to a family portal that gives you access to reports that tell you how the students are performing. It will prompt you for a student access code for that portal, and that access code is available from your student's teacher. So you could just contact them through email, and they would be able to get you that information, and then you would be able to log in to that portal, and it gives you the results of the previous tests that are there. And then once the test assessment is available for the 3rd PM, that information will be there as well. And it looks like this. So it'll give you an overview of their reading and their math and tell you what their performance level is. By clicking on the After Testing tab, you will find STAR Parent Reports. These resources are made available to help interpret the data report generated from the STAR assessment. All of the reports are available in English and in Spanish. Now that we have explored the state resources, we will look at the Duval County Public School resources. To access your students' data, visit duvalschools.org and click on the Student and Families tab that you see highlighted right here at the top. You will get a list of links that populate, and you can select the Performance Matters Parent Portal from that list of links. Once you click that link, you will see this Parent Portal button appear. The Parent Portal page also includes a Parent Portal tutorial, and the tutorial is also available in Spanish. Once in this portal, you will have access to your students' results from district assessments, school assessments that are taken within Performance Matters, as well as a history of any state assessments your student has taken. We all want to help our students be successful. Here are some ways to support our students at home. Grades K through 5 have access to the Redbird platform. First and second grade have iReady, and grades 3 through 5 have access to Freckle. In addition to their blended learning practice, fluency practice with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division is always beneficial to student success. Find fun opportunities to incorporate this practice in everyday life, such as at the grocery store, while cooking, and in situations where time is involved. This makes math concepts fun and relevant to the students. I want to thank you again for joining us on behalf of Academic Services in partnership with the Parent Academy. Have a wonderful evening.